What up, Buckeye Nation? We're the Buckeye Boys. We're here to talk about real college football, real fans. I screwed that all up. It's cool. It's the first time. This is the BBZ Mafia family. Sit down. And I'm Tony. That's Shaun. And we're going to get it started.
What up, Tony?
How you doing, buddy?
Still getting over the Colossus mistake from the other weekend, but starting to, come over my grief. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'm rounding the corner finally. Like, I'm not completely over it. Maybe I never will be, but I think brighter days maybe ahead at some point. I don't know. I don't know how I feel necessarily about the future, but there is a future coming, and we will experience it. That's all I can tell you.
Hey, man, we got the playoffs coming up. We just signed a top 5 class with some great prospects coming in. I mean, we killed it in the portal. I mean, we killed it in the recruiting class, and can't wait to see what we do in the portal. So, I mean, it's only going to get better from here, man.
Yep, we're going to talk about both those things tonight. You know what I'm saying? Get your take, like we got mine and Mello and Devin's take last night. But so listen, so there's been a lot of stuff going on here lately, and I think the first thing I'm going to bring up, I think has been, it's floated around and it's been dispelled, but like Urban Meyer returning in Ryan Day's stead. Like, if we get rid of Ryan Day or he goes to, the Chicago Bears or wherever he may go, possibly, maybe, I think I personally have been calling for Urban Meyer for 2.5 years, but like he also came out today and kind of put that to bed and dispelled that and said like, no, I don't, I had my good 7 years, but like I support Ryan Day and his staff. But I mean, you know how many college coaches have said like, oh, I'm not taking that job, and 15 minutes later take the job. So, you know what I'm saying? I think, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think of Urban Meyer coming back?
I say maybe a 5% chance. I mean, I don't think he would do good with this new college football at the NIL. I mean, before he was a dictator. He controlled everything. Now these kids, if they don't like it, they can, transfer out at any time, and there's no having to sit for a year. The coaches don't have as much control as they used to. They can't, be a dictator like they used to be.
I mean, I see that, but I go the other way with it. I feel that Urban Meyer with NIL could like go nuclear. Like he could go get whoever he wanted. He doesn't have to tamper. He can just go pay out the money. And the one thing, even if he was a dictator, you know what that one thing that man inspired was passion. Like he inspired passion and belief in his players that they bought in. He brought Ohio kids. Like he made everybody buy in, and they believed more so than Ryan Day does. And I think that's the one thing I think with NIL, like I think he could somewhat control it because I think he would make the kids buy in more than most of these other coaches are getting kids to buy in nowadays.
Well, I just don't know if these kind of kids nowadays could handle his way of coaching. They're not as, I mean, what we hear is kind of a country club, atmosphere over at the Woody right now under Ryan Day. And look how much these new coaches kiss their players behinds. These kids get all kinds of $1 million thrown at them and pampered. I mean, I don't think, Urban would be down for that, man. He's old school, in your face, screaming at you. It's going to hurt some people's feelings. I don't know how that would fly with these kind of athletes nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, I get it. I can see that. Chad, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Urban Meyer returning and the possibility of it? I know it's been dispelled, but like, you never can believe anything out of that. And, well, you guys respond. Say what's up to the chat too. We got all the regulars in here. We got Steely and Tyler.
My boy Steely.
Sean Rawlings. Mello's in here. Karis. Mean Green.
Tyler. Raw Dog. Karis and Beth. All the regulars. Mello. My boy Mello. Hey, shout out to Mello and Devin for giving us a show tonight, man, and letting us do our thing, man. Appreciate you guys.
Speak of the devil, here he comes.
Nah, just play it. Hey, I just want to do little housekeeping real fast, fellas. This is your show, but little housekeeping. Shout out Shaun Rollins, the first person to join the Cujo Mafia, dude. We got an official member of the Buckeye Boys, Shaun Rollins, bro. You're awesome, man. So,
Shaun Rollins,
you
bro.
can do that. We can take super chats now, the whole 9 yards. Nether housekeeping real fast. We just got done interviewing Jameer Brown. I'll be dropping that video tomorrow, so check that out. Tonight at 8:30, me and Mello will be interviewing Riley Pettijohn and his dad live. So we need the chat to show up, get pumped. Let's show Riley that we are pumped for him to be a Buckeye. Other than that, fellas, keep doing your thing. Appreciate you, fellas, for doing this for us. Appreciate chat for showing up. Y'all the best, man.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks, man.
It.
Raw dog, man. What it be, raw dog? Shaun Rollins, good man.
Shaun Rollins is the man. But yeah, so I mean, Urban Meyer came out today and he made that statement, and it's hard to tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, as much as I wanted Urban to come back, like I think it's also been a pipe dream. The same way I still believe. I know there's been rumblings about Nick Saban, but like I still feel like that's probably a pipe dream too. So like it's just it just depends on what people think, and the likelihood of it. I think we're probably have Ryan Day for the foreseeable future, at least unless he takes an NFL job, because I don't think we're spending $37 million to get him out of here.
That's the thing with this new football with the NIL. These coaches got such large buyouts, man. They got kind of a longer leash now. So teams are kind of stuck with these coaches that are, you give him a big buyout like that. There's no way we can come up with, I think they said like $70 million to buy him out right now.
It's 37 for Ryan. Yeah. But then like we'd have to pay the new coach, which is like another, whatever, 12 to 15. And then, we got player retention. That's another 20. Like it spirals out of control to this like $100 million bill that looks like we're Ohio State. We have money, but like, Jesus, limits. There's limits to this.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather put that money, towards, an offensive line, or God forbid, buy a kicker. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
of course, we don't need one, Jeez.
No, who knew the field goal kickers could determine games? Anyway, speaking of that, and trying to move on from the debacle that was, in fact, last Saturday, we're going onward and upward, and we got the conference championships coming up, which there's some weird ones. You know what I'm saying? Like the ACC one is going to be maybe chaotic, and I think we touch on those for a minute, and then we'll talk about the insanity that could be the playoff picture. So let's see. Where the conference championship games are as follows: the Big 12, Iowa State, and Arizona State, which I'm sure nobody picked at the beginning of the year. And then we have a rematch of the SEC, Georgia and Texas. Then the Big 10, we backed in Penn State, and then Oregon. And then in the ACC, could be the most chaos being caused, Clemson and SMU. So what are your thoughts on these games, Shaun?
The most interesting one that I'm kind of excited to watch is actually Iowa State and Arizona State. That coach for Arizona State has done such a great job. I mean, they had all them sanctions. And I mean, everybody thought that program was, dead, that they wouldn't recover. And here he is playing for a championship. I think SMU will probably get beat by Clemson. I think Oregon's going to beat Penn State. And I actually like Texas over Georgia, even though I know Georgia beat them the first time.
Texas gets the rebound. It just depends on what Carson Beck shows up. That's the problem. Carson Beck is a weird enigma of what quarterback's going to show up. So who did you say you have in the Arizona State Iowa State game? Does it matter? Doesn't really matter.
I'm sorry. What was that? You broke up for a second.
Who do you have in the Iowa State Arizona State game? Does it actually matter? Or?
I'm rooting for Matt Campbell because he's an Ohio guy.
For sure.
And I've always been a big fan of him. Such a great coach. I mean, he's won at every place he's gone at, but I really admire the job that Arizona State has, that guy has done. I mean, his whole program got, basically went towards the portal when they had all them sanctions. So for them guys to come back like they've done, I mean, heck of a coaching job there, man.
Right.
Him and Signetti, either one could be coach of the year this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It looks like the chat is rolling real hard with Penn State over Oregon. I don't know if that's a we hate Oregon pick or the James Franklin finally gets it done pick. But I mean it should be interesting. I think to me I think the most interesting game is Clemson and SMU because as you've seen, SMU is already kind of projected to get in. But like, say Clemson wins this game, like what kind of chaos does that cause? Where like you have SMU was supposed to get in, so they still can be a playoff team, and you still have you have Clemson's got an automatic bid. Like
I think it all depends on, honestly, how bad SMU gets beat. I mean, if SMU gets dog walked, they're going to have a hard problem trying to tell people they belong there. But you've also had the committee come out and say that they're not going to punish anybody for losing in a conference championship game.
Well, it looks like we lost Tony for the brief moment. He said his computer came unplugged or something like that. Let me see what he's texting here. Came unplugged and died. Wow, Tony. So that's what you do when you go live. You make sure you don't plug your computer in so it goes dead, Tony. Wow, dude. This might go down as one of the most epic failures that we have seen. But I love it, dude. It's freaking Buckeye boys, baby. That's what we do. But yeah, man.
Hey,
What?
I got a question for you. What do you think about Alabama getting that, getting ranked as high as they have? That's just garbage, man. That's,
Yeah, I mean, it
unbelievable.
is. It's so crazy, dude. College football has just turned into kind of a mess in some ways. There's good things and there's bad things with this, right? And obviously there's bias in everything in life. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if you put another team in their place, somebody will come up with a reason why they're biased for being there. But, I'm kind of used to it by now. Like, if you look at the recruiting services, Ohio State had the number one class for the longest time, and without anything changing other than them going in and re-ranking the recruits, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden ours drop. Same regard. So it's college football, man, but the proof will be in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? That they get a play on the field. So we'll see if Alabama deserves to be there. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think they do. But, they'll get embarrassed one way or the other. So Tony's back. So,
yeah, sorry
Tony,
about that.
yeah, you just went down in history, right? For letting your computer die on your very first live
No,
stream.
listen,
But
it was plugged in, and because the Curse Designs Buckeye Boys studio that I am in here is about this wide, literally, like my foot caught the plug, and I have a MacBook, and so it just came out like it's a magnetic plug. It just popped out.
Yeah, and
Died.
officer, I promise you, I wasn't speeding, man. Your
Not even.
radar is wrong, dude.
I
It's
stopped
wrong.
drinking 6 hours ago. I swear.
I
to God.
never went over 55.
Right.
I'm
Wasn't
just
me.
messing with you.
Right.
All right, y'all take over, man. Enjoy.
Yep. Absolutely, buddy. Sorry about that. Anyway, where'd we land on the Alabama Ole Miss debate? Anybody got anything to say about that? Like,
I find it crazy that Ole Miss is ahead of Alabama.
yeah,
I mean, when Ole Miss beat them. I mean, Lane Kiffin should be mad. I mean, he was already running his mouth as it was before they came out with the rankings, but he really has a reason to be mad. So does Miami's got a point too, but you know what? Take care of business against Syracuse, and you won't have that problem.
I mean, yeah. Listen, you got to not lose to Kyle McCord. That's all I'm saying. I don't care who's coaching him. Still Kyle McCord. So,
what did you think of the SMU game? SMU Clemson. That's what we were talking about when you went out.
Yeah, I think it can cause a lot of chaos. You know what I'm saying? Like, people were talking about like SMU shouldn't even show up, like just so like they don't get penalized because they said like, oh, we can't, we're not going to penalize teams for that don't end up playing on that Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like since they made it to the game, they can't just obviously forfeit it. But like, it could be a little bit of chaos if you know what I'm saying. If Clemson wins, like what does that do? Because the ACC is clamoring hard this year they want to get 3 teams in, even though they couldn't clamor about Florida State last year, which I think is funny. But what can you do?
Yeah, I saw that the athletic directors were going back and forth. I mean, all kinds of it. I mean, they were going at each other. It was hilarious. But then you got Florida State going, where was that last year for you guys fighting for us to get in when we were undefeated and conference champion? So, I mean, I could see where Florida State would be ticked off that no one came to their, defense last year.
Yeah. I mean, rightfully so. Once their quarterback got hurt, they'd have got smoked. But still, they should have got the chance to get smoked in there. They made it. They were undefeated conference champions. So, I think the playoff picture as it's looking, since you guys we were talking about Alabama getting in over Ole Miss and stuff or whatever. Like the playoff picture as it seems right now is as follows: we're gonna have Tennessee and Ohio State at Ohio Stadium for the first playoff game in history at Ohio Stadium. It's going to be amazing playing Tennessee. That's what it's projected. And then you have Penn State and Arizona State, which would be the 5-12 matchup. You got Georgia and Indiana, which I think is just like a weird game. And then Notre Dame and Miami. Oh, is this an old one? Yeah, I don't know. This may be somebody else's. I don't know. Either way, like you still have Oregon number 1. You know what I'm saying? And you have Texas up there. You have Penn State. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's just going to be. I think the craziness, will be seeing a home playoff game in Ohio Stadium in December, is going to be wild. Like, knowing our luck, it's going to be 70 degrees and the weather won't matter. But, it should, I think, have something to do with at least something. I know it gets kind of cold in Tennessee, but they don't get crazy snow and, 20-degree weather, whipping winds like they do in Columbus. So, what are your thoughts on the home playoff game?
I'm actually happy for the seniors that they get a chance to have one more home game in the shoe. I mean, the way it ended with Michigan, to have that go out as your last game at your home stadium on senior day leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So they get a chance, a little redemption, go out there, beat an SEC conference opponent, smoke them. Let's go to the next round, man. You guys get one more shot at the shoe, man.
Well, we know the next round is more than likely going to be Oregon. So, unless everybody's right in the chat, then it's going to be Penn State, But let's hope it. I mean, I would like to get revenge on Oregon. I think we smack Penn State in the mouth again. That's just what I think. I think that's what I think. What do you think on that?
I think we beat Penn State, but Oregon's that's a whole different animal. But with the way Jim Knowles has been calling defense lately, I mean, I think, it'd be a whole different story than it was the first time. Of course, our offensive line is a lot different than what it was out there, too. So I'd like another shot at him.
No, I think, on a neutral field, listen, there was a time right up until the Michigan kickoff that hypothetically there was a line out there from Vegas that we were 3-point favorites in Indy over Oregon. You know what I'm saying? So, I think, I think if we rectify what we're supposed to rectify and everything and whatnot, but I think either way, we got to look forward, not that far forward, though. We're going to look at Tennessee if that's what we're going to end up with. I think I have the actual rankings here now. Let's see. Oregon, number 1, Texas, number 2, Penn State, number 3, Notre Dame, number 4, Georgia, number 5, Ohio State, number 6, Tennessee, number 7, SMU, number 8, Indiana, number 9, Boise State, number 10, Alabama, number 11, Miami, number 12. Something like that. Yeah. And so, literally, I know, where do you think Ohio State lands seeding wise? I know that's been talked about a bunch. I know because they're kind of going on the brand thing, and I think they're going to try to put together some big matchups because that's what the playoff committee does. And not necessarily, it's not just true rankings. They're going to kind of put people where they think they can, get the most bang for their buck.
I'm thinking either 7 or 8. I mean, if Georgia wins, I could see them, staying where they're at or maybe going up a little bit. But I think, you got Notre Dame there who's got probably penciled into the 5th seed automatically because they're not, going to play anybody because they're not in the conference. So as long as we don't get stuck, I know Indiana would be most people don't want to see that. They want us to play an SEC team. So either way, if we're 7 or 8, I think, we'll either have Tennessee or some people were also saying Alabama. So
Right.
I guess we're just gonna have to shake out, see what shakes out Friday. So
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. Like I think we land somewhere in that 7-8 realm just because of the 5 and 6 seeds bumping us up, and then I think I think then from there it's who knows. Like you can't ever tell with the playoff committee anymore. Like I think the fact that what they're doing, I know that they kind of said like, oh well, we want to make the conference championship games mean something more. Again, but I think the automatic bids is nonsense, and literally like they're using the ends justify the means method to say like, oh, these games are important now. Like they're not. Like by doing this, you're just making it more convoluted and complicated, like it's taxes, and like literally where you could just have true rankings. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, those games would mean less maybe, but like it's to me, it's like playing. Like if you were to take the top 8 teams in the NFL and make them play before the playoffs and then seed them, it seems a bit nonsensical to me.
or you take every conference. I mean, in the AFC, you got the North, the South, and the West and the East, and you just take the top 2 teams, each of them, and have them play it out to see who wins it to get into the playoff. Man, that's crazy. Instead of just taking the best top 12, Sorry.
No, it's good. I think it's just a really weird and convoluted system. And I think hopefully they work it out. Like, and I mean, honestly, I think we'd be better off if we literally just took all the computer rankings and the AP poll, the computer rankings, the coaches poll, and made one poll from that without brand bias and stuff and whatever. And like, because I think brand bias hurts Ohio State a lot of times because people hate Ohio State. It helps places like Alabama, who just people are gobbling up Alabama
or Georgia.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's almost like the BCS, the way they did the BCS is almost, kind of a better way to come up with a true ranking instead of, I mean, I know you got this committee, but the brand bias is actually creeping in. So, I mean, there's no way Alabama should have been over, Ole Miss at all, especially head to head. And now they're saying, if you play in these conference championship games, and you lose, we're not going to punish you. But if Penn State gets spanked by Oregon, say by 30 points, how can you say Penn State's better than we are when, we lost to Oregon by 1 and we beat them at Penn State? Yeah, they played one more game, but still, I mean, I don't get, how they're going to do that. I think they're just trying to make it important, like you said. They're trying to make these conference games, hype them up so much so they have some kind of importance.
Right, and I mean, they're doing it like kind of weird and convoluted, like it's crazy. I want to field this question. Just side note, real quick. Like this is a full-time job. You know what I'm saying? Like just the whole beard thing and everything, and $60 haircuts. It's a whole thing. Beard oil and all that. Like you should see it. It's 7 hours a day, it seems like. But otherwise, like it looks very good. And I have people like Atlas to groom it for me, and it's wonderful. So like, thank you. I appreciate the personal questions from Buckeye Nation. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Let's see here. What's next on the agenda? Oh yeah. Let's get your takeaway, Shaun, on early signing day. National Signing Day was yesterday. The Buckeyes, in Devin's word, signed the number 1 class because we're just not listening to 24/7 or him anymore. And I'm with him. I think we had a wonderful class. We all weighed in on it yesterday. It'd be good to hear your thoughts and feelings on the recruiting class and how we did. We had a couple flips. You know what I'm saying? Nameem offered is literally the biggest one. Zahir Mathis. What was the other one?
London Merritt left.
Yeah, yep, London Merritt. So yeah, literally, I think I think we did really well. We got Epi in a defensive end. You know what I'm saying? And we retained a lot of our receivers and everything. So I think we're doing all right. You know, we had nothing but positive things to say about it yesterday. What are your thoughts on it?
I really want to give a shout out to Coach. I mean, look at our two newest coaches on the staff, Coach Locke and Laurinaitis. They killed it, man. Got the best linebacking class in the nation. I mean, Riley Pettijohn, and you got Alfred to stay, and Eli Lee. Then Coach Locke, I mean, getting Isaiah West, Bo Jackson, and then he flipped Turbo Rogers, man, who's going to be the next. Oh shoot, what's that guy's name that played for Curtis Samuel? He's going to be the next Curtis Samuel, man.
Yep.
I mean, Chip Kelly. I mean, he's going to be Chip Kelly's secret weapon. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. To say if Chip Kelly's even here, I hope he is. But yeah, no, I think it was great. What are your thoughts on Justin Fry's recruiting class?
Oh man, I mean, dude, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because I know his recruiting hasn't been great, but with the development he did with Josh Simmons. I mean, then some other guys took a step, but that's been a total debacle with his recruiting. I mean, if he can flip David Sanders, which is a Hail Mary, which I think he's just, using this to get more money. But other than that, something's got to change. Ryan Day has to do something, man, or his best friend's going to drag him down.
I agree. I think you mentioned new coaches too. Matt Guerrieri, killing it with the safeties.
He killed it.
Justin Fry is Justin Fry. I think even Keenan Bailey, showed that he can definitely recruit and whatnot. Justin Fry, I think, just is not getting enough people into the class, whatever. And I think him and Larry Johnson are probably, Larry Johnson did better than Justin Fry, but like getting offensive linemen out of the portal and stuff or whatever, like, is their only other option. And we know how hard that is at this point, So
you had two kids from Liberty entering, and one's from Massillon, Ohio, and he's a
6'8"
monster.
or something. Yeah,
6'8", over 300 pounds.
Yep.
Thing is Michigan's going to want them bad. I mean, you're going to have to overpay for these kids. I mean, they're going to be a hot commodity, man.
Yeah, especially offensive linemen. Like offensive tackles they're worth
the
weight literally in gold. That's a lot of weight.
I mean, everybody says go to the portal, but there's got to be people there to get though, man. I mean, who says the portal? I mean, luckily, those two guys from Liberty, jumped in. I saw that there was a starting guard for Northwestern who's going to enter the portal. But, I mean, let's face it, people got to do some tampering behind the scenes to get these kids to jump in the portal.
It's the only way. Kids who really, really good people, I think, who enter the portal already know where they're going and have probably already taken some money at this point. Like, the problem with the portal sometimes is, though, like, how many of these kids could actually start at Ohio State and how many of them are just Zen Mikowski in a different, uniform?
Different, yep. I mean, that's true.
That's the problem with the portal. It's hard to judge talent like that and stuff, or whatever. Now, granted, we have done good. Josh Simmons came from the portal. Seth McLaughlin came from the portal. I think it can be done, but like, do I have faith in Justin Fry per se? I don't think so. Like, Justin Fry, that bill's come due as well, and something's got to change.
I mean, the thing is, we had those injuries, but there was nobody coached up, ready to go behind him, man. I mean, zero development, man.
He was exiled to the no man's land, and he did play good. When he played guard, he looked good. Now, when he went to center, he looked like, Missouri Carson Hinsman. But at guard, I think he looked awesome. So, like, I think it can be done. But, yeah, again, my faith in Justin Fry is really waning or doesn't exist. So, is there any other what are the three groups I think you think Ohio State needs or you would go after in the portal?
Number one would be offensive lineman, kicker, and they could use some defensive linemen. I mean, I think it's also going to depend on who's coming back. There's rumors that Iggy might come back, which, I don't know if that's true or not. You might want to get a veteran DB, but we've been recruiting so good there. I mean, Aaron Scott, Bryce West, Calvin Simpson Hunt. I mean, those guys are ready to roll because you got Jermaine Matthews, man. In the following year, that class is going to be stocked. And Devin Sanchez, man, he might be ready to start coming right in as a freshman. So I think DBs are, you might want to get one depending on if Iggy comes back or not, but definitely offensive, defensive line, and the biggest one all, like Karras said and Beth said, kicker, man.
Yep.
Who do you think they should go after?
I personally think, obviously, like an offensive tackle for sure, or an offensive lineman in general. A kicker, 1,000%. Like we've 2 or 3 years now worth of this, and I think, I would go. Now, listen, I know most people want to say corner stuff, whatever. I think our corners are pretty deep. I know we didn't get name offered, but like I think we can fill in all the gaps there. And the safety class looked amazing. We still got Caleb Downs. I think whatever. I think like we have a couple good recruits coming in at tight end, but like we have seen that the development of the tight ends has not been what it should has been under Keenan Bailey. So I would go after maybe a tight end just to like a stopgap till Nate Roberts and the other kid
Brody Lennon.
Yeah, Brody Lennon like can mature, or like Jelani wakes up out of whatever stupor he's in, or whatever. Like I think that might be a place to go and get a good blocker or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be a great place to go. Yeah. What meeting?
Yeah, we could.
Sorry. What meeting is Blunt Man talking about? Anybody know?
I'm wondering if it was that players only meeting that he was talking about.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Where they went off on Ryan Day, which I think is good to get that but and supposedly, Day took it. The press conference, Day probably took responsibility for, everything. But according to the meeting, he said he wouldn't change a thing, and he tried to stick up for it. I mean, that's the time that you want to take, responsibility for it, because you tell these kids, accept responsibility, stand up and be accountable. And now they're, wanting you to be accountable, and you stand your ground. I could see him, wanting to protect Chip or the other coaches, but still, man, that play, that play sheet, the play calling was poor, to say the least.
I mean, all of that stinks of Ryan Day to me. Like, I don't care what anything, but I think now that they have the players meeting, I think it opens up, like we said before, a voice for the kids. You know what I'm saying? Or the kids open up a voice for the other coaches. Brian Hartline to be like, oh hey, yeah, man, can the freshman wide receiver of the year get some passes? And like all our top end talent that we could have killed everybody with, be killers. So I think when it comes down to it, like I think literally, I just hope we fix what's gonna what needs to be fixed, and we look past that nonsensical fucking game. I think I really think we have to look past it, and I think we have to do the same thing like we did with the Oregon game and rectify situations quickly and effectively.
Yep. I just think Ryan Day needs to stay out of the offensive meeting room, because they claimed he went in there and tried to implicate things, put in all kinds of new stuff, and I could tell, like you said, that game plan reeks of him. All she had to do was follow Texas's blueprint on how they beat Michigan, and you would have walked away with a 20-point win at the least, but they didn't.
Right. No, and that's the whole thing. Like I don't know how our ineptitude got the best of us, but like it, I think, like we've said on here before, I think Ryan Day takes the full brunt of that blame. None of the players. I think Will Howard was probably concussed. I think it was just a wonderfully horrible show of nonsense that Ryan Day, put out there. And
I mean, the only way to lose that game was they did it. I mean, his ego got the best of him. He thought, he's so sick of being called soft and hearing that they're soft. He wanted to prove a point. Well, you know what? That point lost you the game. Who cares how you win the game? Just win the game.
Right. Well, and that's what brings it back to it. Like, so many people are never going to, it's not necessarily like we asked the question the other day, which would you rather have? Would you rather have a a Michigan victory or a national championship. And like a lot of people, said like, oh, Michigan victory. And to me, like, I think it's like, to me, it's national championship all the time. Cause like at the end of the day, like that makes us the best of the best. Doesn't matter if we lost 47 times. Like at the end of the day, we won it. And nobody usually asks how you won it. They just know that you won it. Nobody can recite to you outside of Ohio State fans what actually happened in 2014. They just know like we might have beat Bama and Oregon and that's it. They know the whole storyline. So like, I think it's the same kind of thing,
I mean, in my lifetime, we've owned Michigan, and I've always seen 2 national championships. So I'd like to see a couple more natties before I pass on. So I'll take a natty any day.
Absolutely. And let's see, trying to find this graphic, but like so literally, oh, there it is. Okay, 1 second. So somebody I believe Buck Nasty from X the other day it got sent around. He posted it on X, and literally it's this let me get this off here. Literally
alternate helmet.
Yeah, it's AI generated, but we'll give him credit. Like he put it up there. I posted it on X, and I asked everybody like, "What do you think that would be an awesome alternate?" Like I think we haven't done any alternates outside the gray alternates and the black alternates in a minute. Like like I think that looks cool, and I think having the block O and stuff is very important. Like what I'm saying, how Jack Sawyer the other day at the Horseshoe, defended the block O. I think that's something we need. I think we need to like put it back out in people's face and make them literally, want to defend the honor of that symbol. Because I don't think enough kids are buying into it or get it. Because that's a whole thing too. I think that might be a Ryan Day problem where, whether we are not getting enough Ohio kids in or whatever, and the buy-in and stuff or whatever. Like, so I don't know what are your thoughts on that, Shaun?
I'm starting to think it's just a college football program, honestly. College football problem that these kids aren't going to these schools solely because they want to go to that school anymore. It's a lot of these kids are, how much money are you going to give me? They're kind of like paid assassins anymore. I mean, honestly. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some kids that, love the school, like, Jake Cook. It's his dream to be there. Brady Edmonds, who just committed, the quarterback that lives in California, who grew up a Buckeyes fan. Some of these kids, don't get me wrong, always wanted to be Buckeyes, and that's their dream, or they wanted to go to Notre Dame or go to here and there. But you see, a lot of these kids are being auctioned off by their parents, man. It's kind of, last minute on signing day, they're holding the phone, seeing who comes up with the highest offer, and that's where they're going. So, I mean,
yeah,
I just think it's a new age, buddy. It's not like it used to be where these kids dream about their whole life coming to their school and, winning it.
Right. Well, I mean, luckily we still have people like Jack Sawyer, even though like their class has been wildly disappointing. Like to see him defend that the other day, you do have people like Tavian St. Clair that's coming in, Devin Sanchez and stuff or whatever. But like a lot of those players, like that's the one thing I can say about Urban Meyer. Like from the moment those kids got here, from their first visit, they said they were coming. Literally, like he indoctrinated them. Every time it turned around, you're not allowed to say Michigan. You're not like he made them buy into this everything that is Ohio State, and that's I think where the Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer, where the brotherhood really took root. You know what I'm saying? And I think we've lost that with Ryan Day. Like the brotherhood is still there, but I think it's there because the players want it there, and the brotherhood is real. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think Ryan Day has fostered it in any way, shape, or form.
But if you look though, I'm 45, and I grew up. I mean, when I was little, Earl Bruce was the coach, and he was, a Buckeye through and through. Then, John Cooper replaced him, and Cooper wasn't from Ohio. And if you look, I mean, he didn't get it. He's not from here. So they hired Tressel. Tressel got it because he's an Ohio guy. And he coached for Earl Bruce, and, he loved being a Buckeye. Same thing with Urban Meyer. Now, does someone have to be from Ohio to coach here to get it? No, they don't. But I mean, does it help? I think it's. I mean, you can see it helps, but I just think with just the way this new college football is, man, it's all about the money, and I mean, you're gonna get a lot of these kids that they're just happy to play college football for the most money. It's
Yeah,
not
I
for
mean,
love anymore.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it has become kind of convoluted like that and stuff or whatever. But like, I think one thing that Ryan Day, even if that's the state of college football, is just we're going to whatever. Like, I think you could help foster that by getting Ohio kids. 3 out of the top 10 or three out of the top 5 recruits from Ohio went to other schools, including Oregon and Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Like that's ridiculous.
I can see your point, but if you look at Justin Hill at the time, fit wasn't good. I mean, Trey McNutt wasn't going to be a Buckeye no matter how much we want him to be. I mean, there's some things behind the scenes that a lot of us know about, but the kid just wasn't going to come. I mean, even though he's a legacy, he wanted to be, wanted to do his own thing, but he never wanted to be a Buckeye in the first place, so he was gone.
Yeah, but
Justin Hill,
we lost Dorian Brew though. His mom is in the Ohio State Hall of Fame. Like that. I mean, come on. Like we lost some legacy players, and like on Urban's watch, I don't think that would have happened. Like flat out.
Nope.
Like
no. But the thing is with Dorian Brew, he would have been a Buckeye, but the problem was we had offered in the class Nakeem, and Dorian Brew wanted to be, paid as a top 2 quarterback, and he wasn't going to get that as long as Devin and Nakeem were here. So that's why he flew the coop. And then it comes down to it that Nakeem flew the coop. I mean, it's kind of hard when Phil Knight tells you you're going to have your own shoe.
They ended up on the same team anyway. Like he could have just stayed here and like stayed the course. And like that's why like people like Devin Sanchez and Tavian St. Clair are so amazing. Like literally. They have stayed the course the whole time with people like Riley Pettijohn that have just been true and like have bought in and are more Buckeyes, I think, than some of these kids that should be legacies and should be around.
I mean, Carter Lowe's another one. So is DJ Alford. I mean, he wanted to play for Laurinaitis. Right. And no matter how, Will Falling and all these people tried to push him to Miami and say he was going to be Miami, he stayed with the Buckeyes the whole time. He never once wavered. So, I mean, much respect and love to those guys, man. Yeah. I mean, if you look, hey, Googs, thanks for watching. Big gold jacket Googs. Good to have you on, buddy.
Yeah, for
love
sure.
That guy, man. He's awesome.
Oh, Mrs. Sanchez in the chat. How you doing? See?
Hi, D. I just want to say congratulations to Devin and the Sanchez family.
Absolutely. You guys have been blessings. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys, Tavian St. Clair, like all of them. Like I think we just kind of like back when Jim Tressel was here in Urban Meyer, like I think we were getting more Ohio kids. And I know there's like we've expanded out, like Urban Meyer even expanded out some or whatever, but like I'm sure if you ask somebody like Mika, she can tell you like 47 people in Ohio that are amazing and haven't got offers from the Buckeyes because they don't think it's worth it, or they're out chasing people that Justin Fry's not going to get, or whatever. You have the big 4 linemen from Ohio, and like we offered like how many of them? Like not all of them. I know that. Like
they should have already had their offers by now. Mrs. Sanchez is right. Deetra, these kids are chasing money. I mean, if they are chasing money, they should be honest and say it. Don't waste people's time. I mean, a lot of them are playing games and just trying to, drive their price up. So, I mean, I guess Phil Knight offered that he would give him his own shoe if he came. So, and, shout out to Zach Smith on Menace. He was laughing about because he goes, if you look, there's only two DBs that only got their own shoe, Deion and Darrell Rivas. So, I mean, no way. If he gets it, more power to him. But what's the likely it's going to be? He's going to be Deion or Rivas, man.
Listen, I know he might be a very good player, and I want to speak ill of the kid just because he didn't come here. But if you believe that Phil Knight's about to give you your own shoe, where 2 of the best corners who have ever lived got, and you haven't played a snap of college football, I'm telling you, you might be delusional. And I like that's I'm sure he's a nice kid, and I'm sure I would want to believe that in that case. But like you have to you have to call a spade sometime and be like, hey, yo, listen, that seems wildly impossible. Like, and to make a decision, make it be a decision on that just seems foolish. Now, like, I know Dan Lanning and them are out there pulling people in and stuff or whatever, but I think the allure, half of it is like Dan Lanning's a psychopath and Phil Knight has all the money more than God. So like, I think it's literally that's kind of the allure out there. I think,
Hey
Dan
man,
Lanning
you can.
become young Urban Meyer. So
I mean, I would love to have Phil Knight. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, to have a blank check, but teacher's right. Go earn the money and stop thinking you are owed 7 figures as a high school player. You're correct. I mean, look at what Michigan did with Bryce Underwood. What happens if that kid flops? Imagine if that kid goes up there and he stinks. I know it's unlikely, but if he flops and you spend all that money on one guy, that sets you back. That sets your program back big time. So I mean,
let's see here. Ohio State does play Tennessee in the Horseshoe. Do you see the Buckeyes winning the game and moving on to the next game? I would like to think so. Like, I would never say I want Ohio State to lose this game. I think it's going to be a tough game. Tennessee is no punk. You know what I'm saying? But they can't be gotten. You know what I'm saying? Nico is still very young. He still makes rookie mistake type. I think if we get our offensive crap in order, literally, I think it's in the last stand in the Horseshoe. Those boys get one more chance. Like, you saw how just hurt and devastated we were, but I think they'll fight on, and also they're Tennessee has like the best defensive end in the country, James Pierce, and he is worrisome. He is the real deal. So, I think they have their weaknesses, but like they can hit us where it hurts, if they can. Now, if we can get this makeshift patchwork O-line together, I think we definitely have a real chance. December in the Horseshoe, Ohio State, trying to get back from the muck and the mud. I don't know. Like, I feel like at some point either we're going to turn it around or we're not, and that's the the Rudy moment where we got to draw a line in the sand and go, we're doing this or we're not, but it has to end here.
This is your chance to atone for your mistakes. Not many people get a chance to have a redo. Well, you're not going to get another shot at Michigan, but you know what? You got a chance at the big prize. And you don't know how many chances when you play you're going to get a shot at a championship, boys. So some of you younger guys, this might be your only shot you ever get. I know it, might not be. You might think, I got a couple more years. I'll get a couple more bites at the apple. But there's a lot of people, that think they're going to go back the next year and never get back. So take advantage of your opportunity, guys. Go out there, kick their butts. Ryan Day, do not run at Pierce. Do not run at Pierce. And, I think they could make Nico, give him a lot of different looks and confuse the kid. I mean, great arm, great upside, great athlete, but he's known to make a lot of mistakes too. So I like our chances, Tony.
No, I agree. And like Devin said, if Day said it, it's got to be true. He's going to utilize our weapons so we win the game. So like, I've never known Ryan Day to not tell the truth at all in any way, shape, or form. But either way, I digress. I really think, I think it's going to be a magical moment regardless. Like, great, I want us to win that game, but like, think about what's about to happen. Like, we're about to see a 12-team playoff, and we're about to have a home playoff game in December in Columbus, Ohio. Like, for whatever reason, the stars aligned to move it here, and like, not that it wouldn't have been, we could have won and got that, but like, here we are, and it's going to be against it's not going to be against Arizona State where we're going to be favored by 30. Like, literally, it's going to be against an SEC team where we can prove a point. We can, put some doubters down, show them that the Big Ten's coming, and I think it's going to be magical. It's going to be magical.
If you look at what happened the last time we lost at Oregon, a lot of people are down because of that game, and they rallied the troops. I mean, I think they're going to rally and they're going to come out, and whoever they play against are going to be ticked off. And I think they're going to prove a point that, hey, we're for real. And I mean, I think there's no doubt they'll win the game, man.
I mean, I still think even after the Michigan loss, there's not one team that truly in their heart wants to go, oh yeah, we want Ohio State. Because I like maybe Oregon might have some bravado. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, I mean, I think Georgia. If you look at every team in this playoff, everybody is. There's not one elite team that doesn't have a flaw. Everybody has a flaw. So I mean, Georgia, you don't know what you're going to get with Carson Beck. I mean, Tennessee's got a young quarterback. I mean, they do have a defense, but I mean, Texas. I mean, they got stomped by Georgia at home. I mean, Quinn Ewers just looked bad at times, and they brought Arch Manning in, and he didn't look great. So,
right.
Another thing, Tony. Remember last time they started the playoffs? Who won the national championship the first time they had a 4-team playoff?
We did win the 14 playoff when nobody said we would, and we did beat an SEC team, and we did beat Oregon. It seems like history repeating itself.
Another interesting fact of that run that they went on back then, they played all the Heisman finalists and the Heisman Trophy winner that year. They played Melvin Gordon in the championship, the Big Ten championship game. They played Derrick Henry, and they played Martin Mariota. And look what happened.
Yeah, they none of those people did anything against them. We held Melvin Gordon to 14 yards and a bag of chips, so it's no big deal. Even with 4 interceptions against Marcus Mariota, we still came out on top. So I think it's going to be wonderful. Like I mean, listen, like either this is where the magic starts because like it definitely didn't start in the last game, and like maybe this is the last. This is the little trip up where we're like, well, we thought we had it. We didn't, and we got to fix something else. And might as well fix it before we go into the playoffs than trip up against Tennessee or somebody. I think,
Man, let's bring back Ryan Day. Remember that last year when Urban was the coach, and Day was the offensive coordinator, and Haskins threw the ball all over the field and they slung it. Let's get back to that, man. Come on, Ryan Day. Let's get back to that guy, that gunslinger, man. I mean, I know you don't have to win Haskins, but Will's capable of getting it out to your playmakers, and I know we'll have to be creative to run the ball, but if they shut the run down, you got to be able to pivot, man. Football is a game of adjustments, man. If something's not working, go to something else. You don't beat your head against the wall and hope for a different outcome. That's insanity.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They've been decent adjustments for most of the year.
Yeah.
Whether Chip Kelly took a minute to get in his bag, but then he get in his bag and he knock it out the park. And then at halftime, it seems like they would catch the momentum and go in, and it just didn't happen the other day. And so I think maybe I don't know. Like I hope they needed to get that out of their system and knock it out and just literally work out all the kinks before we get to the actual playoffs where it actually matters. Because like when it comes down to it, like even Urban Meyer lost stupid games to Purdue and Iowa, but like when it mattered, sometimes we lost that game to Virginia Tech, a bad Virginia Tech team in 2014, and we came back, and despite it all, here we are, 10 years later, maybe repeating history. So like I'm here for it.
I mean, if you look though, that's the first game JT Barrett started. So I mean, we lost the reigning Big Ten, offensive player of the year and Braxton Miller. But the thing is they had all summer. I mean, that happened in summer when he blew his shoulder out or whatever.
August, I think it was August. Yeah.
So JT got a chance to, get a lot of reps in, and Cardell Jones got a lot of, reps at second, being the second quarterback there. So it's not like, they just threw those guys in. I mean, cold later on. I mean, but I think, they're just going to have to step up, man. Let's see what they're made of,
I agree. What time is Scoop going tonight? 7?
7. Yep. So
okay. Well, we're 3 to 7. So let's get our last words in. You know what I'm saying? And leave it on a good note. Shaun, what are your final thoughts for all this? You know what I'm saying? Playoff chaos coming up and conference championships and home playoff games. What are you thinking?
I'm excited. I want to see these seniors go out the right way at the shoe. Let's onward and upward, like you say, man. I'd like to thank Devin and Mello for letting us do the show tonight, and for everybody that came out to support us in the chat. Thanks, guys. Means a lot to us.
Yep, absolutely. We appreciate you. We'd be nothing without you guys. You guys have been amazing, and I couldn't thank Devin and Mello more for not bringing us into the family, and literally you guys out there, like the BBC Mafia family. You're from the bottom of my heart, bottom of Shaun's heart. We thank you guys so much. And with that, we'll hit it with the last thing. OH.
All
right. All right.